for Monday, January the 7th. And this evening, we are very pleased to have one of the creators and co-founders of the Worth account, Mr. John Washenko. He is going to be giving the presentation this evening, and he is going to be taking you through the concept of the Worth account program and shed some light on where and how all of this comes together. I have had the absolute pleasure of working with John Washenko and his partner, Skylar Whitman, going on now about 18 years, which is just absolutely unbelievable to me that they've put up with me that long. But I can tell you, I have never worked for two harder working gentlemen with deeper integrity. I am very proud to work for these gentlemen, and I'm very proud to introduce one of the co-owners and creator of the Worth Account program, Mr. John Washenko. John?
Thank you, Mac. Good evening, everybody. I hope you are off to a wonderful new year. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Let's just kind of get going here. First off, so basically what we've got is, a presentation that, like Mac said, we've been doing this for years. We did it before we developed the program, the Worth account. And what I want to do is just kind of open your eyes up to why it's important to have the Worth account and what it can do for you, what's in it for you, what's it going to do. Some of these things you may have seen, some of you may not. A lot of this is new and changed, so hopefully we can kind of get you excited about what the Worth account can do for you, not only what it can do for you, but what it can do for some of your potential clients as well. So we're going to talk about, first off, mortgage acceleration and payoff. Mortgage payoff means strategic debt payoff, wealth accumulation, and we're going to go into an actual presentation of the Worth account, building wealth, and show you how that works live today. And then coaching and education that comes along with the purchase of a Worth account. So first off, we're just going to do a quick review on a mortgage. You probably have seen this, but we're going to do that real quick. $200,000 mortgage, 6% interest, payments $1199.10. The first month we've got $199.10 to principal, $1,000 to interest. 83% of your payment the first month goes to interest. The second month, principal payment $200.10. The interest payment went down by $1. 1 year into it, our principal payment's up to $210. We've paid in $14,000, and we've got $2,400 in equity. 5 years into it, we paid $71,000. $58,000 went to interest. The kicker, however, is in year 21. Year 10, we're at $143,000 we've paid in. We've got $32,000 in equity. Here comes year 21. We've paid on this for 21 years. We paid in $302,000. We've got $100,000 in equity, and we still owe $99,877. We're going to pay back $431,677. So we're going to kind of go through how to kind of beat the bank and go through and show you how to beat your mortgage, show you how to do better than just your regular amortization schedule. This here is an amortization schedule. The highlighted in green is our next 6 months of payments. It goes out for 360 months, as we can see right up in here. And basically what we want to cover is, this is our payment that we just went over, but this is our next principal payment. This is our next interest payment. So month 2, highlighted there in yellow. If we were to take that $200.10 payment, that extra principal payment, so this is month 2 following principal payment. If we were to take that, what would it do for us? Well, if we paid in an extra $200.10, it would save us one payment and $999 in interest. Sounds pretty good, huh? Would you trade $210 for $999? It sounds like a pretty good trade to me. Well, let's take a look at what would do if we went ahead and paid in or took our following 2 months principal payments, so a total of $410 or $401.20. And what would that do? Well, we'd have those 2 extra interest payments that come to $1,999. If we do that, 40120 to additional principal, what that does is it saves us in interest $1,997. Well, let's take a look at what if we did the next 5 principal payments. What would that do? Well, that's $1,010.54, and that's $4,984.96 that we're scheduled to pay in interest. So let's take a look at this amortization schedule and what's happening. So here's our next 5 principal payments, and for each one of those that we pay in, we're going to slash that interest. So we're going to cancel that interest. So the question is, would you invest 5 months of principal payments, $1,000, to save $5,000? So let's take a look at our amortization schedule, see how that plays out. Here's our $1,000. As we put in our $1,010.54, we save $4,984, canceled 5 months, roughly 1% of our interest is canceled, and we've got 355 months left to go. So if that works, what if we pay more? What does that do? Well, if we went ahead with this schedule of our regular monthly payment plus an additional $5,000, so a total of $6,199, we brought that in, our balance would now be $194,800. Our interest rate stays the same at 6%. Our payment's going to stay the same, but what happened is we just eliminated 23 payments off the back end. And now our loan's going to pay off in 337 months, and we're going to cancel or save $23,304 in interest. And those payments can never come back. So let's look at our amortization schedule. Here we go, plugging in our $5,000, saves us $23,303.96. So we rounded up over there. That's 6% of our total interest. Canceled 23 payments, 337 months remaining. But the question is, where do we come up with that $5,000? Where do we come up with any of that extra money, right? So let's take a look at the Worth account and how we really started out, what this product started out on. It was a home equity line of credit, a line of credit of some kind, and now either we can even get you started with just a checking and savings and then get you into a home equity line of credit. So we're going to start out with a $15,000 line of credit at 10% interest, and we are going to kind of roll through how this would work. What if we used a 10% home equity line of credit, $15,000 available, against our $200,000 mortgage at 6%? So what if we took and borrowed that $5,000 from our home equity line of credit and applied it to our first mortgage? Well, we know what that's going to do. It's going to save us $23,000 in interest and eliminate 23 payments. That sounds good, but really what we've done is we've just borrowed from Peter to pay Paul. You might be saying, well, that might be true, but that's just one step of it. Let's take one step closer and look at what if we deposited our paycheck directly against that balance? Well, because the line of credit is based on a simple interest loan, that means interest is only accruing on the outstanding balance every day. If we deposit our income into it, we're going to pay interest only on the amount borrowed for the time that it was borrowed. So let's take a look, and we're going to kind of run through a scenario with you on how to not only pay off your mortgage, pay off debt, but build wealth as well. So here's John and Rebecca Jones. We're going to start out with them. They've got about $2,800 in monthly living expenses. That's gas, groceries, utilities. We've got our mortgage of $1,199.10. That brings our total monthly living expenses to $4,000. So here's our income is $5,000. That leaves us with $1,000 discretionary income after the mortgage payment is paid, gas, groceries, and utilities are paid. Now, I know that seems like a lot. Most of our customers only have a few $100s left over at the end of each month. But for this example, we're going to go through it with you like this to make things a little bit easier to understand. So here we are starting out in month 1. Our line of credit balance starts out at 0. We need to pay our mortgage payment. It's $1,199.10. So, and our total expenses are $4,000. Pull out cash to go out and buy gas, groceries, and utilities, pay some bills and that kind of stuff. brings our balance. The program actually tells us to do a funds transfer. Now, right now, John and Rebecca, they only have their first mortgage and the line of credit that we've just taken out. So the program says our balance starts out at zero. We're pulling out $4,000 to make our mortgage payment and pay our bills and utilities. Let's do a funds transfer. This is a transfer directly from the line of credit to our first mortgage. What is that going to do for us? It brings our balance up to $10,387. We deposit our income, brings our ending balance to $53.87. We're going to pay $44.90 in interest. Okay, brings our balance up to $54.32. We're going to cancel that one funds transfer. Just saved us $29,215.98. Would you be willing to trade $44 for $29,215? Reduce their mortgage by 29 months. Now let's take a look at the amortization schedule. Here we are looking at our month 1 and our month 2, just like we were before. But instead of month 2 being $200.10, that goes away because of our principal payment, our funds transfer. Our next monthly payment to principal goes up to $232.04. That's a $31.94 jump. So not only is every monthly payment hereafter going to be more towards principal and less towards interest, but we're going to also beat it up on the front end and the back end as well. So here's our balance of $192, and our term has dropped from 359 months down to 330 months. We've just canceled $29,000 in interest and reduced our mortgage by 29 months. Those months can never come back. Now, we still owe $5,400 on our line of credit. So we're going to pull out our expenses. That's going to bring up our balance again to $9,400. We're going to deposit our income. Now, so the reason why we're doing this is because what does a checking or savings account do for us? Not really a whole lot. What is investing back into our own loans and paying back our debt, investing back into our debt? Well, it's canceling 6% interest and 10% interest. So it's helping us to build wealth at the same rate at which the bank invested in us. As we deposit our income of $5,000, our ending balance is $44.32. We're going to pay $36.94 in interest that month, bringing our balance to $44.69. We're going to roll that balance into month 3. We're going to pull out our expenses. That makes our first mortgage payment, pulls out our living expense budget. John and Rebecca Jones are living on the same budget they were before. We're just taking their discretionary income and reapplying it in a different place. If you notice, we're not making a payment to the line of credit. We're just depositing our income, which counts as that, and the interest is tacked back on top of it. That's important to understand down in just a few slides down the road. We deposit our income after pulling out our expenses, brings our ending balance down to $34.69. We're going to pay $28 in interest that month. Our interest keeps dropping as our balance drops. Our ending balance after interest is $34.98. We're going to roll that $34.98 into month 4, pull out our expenses, make our mortgage payment, brings our balance up to just shy of $7,500, deposit our income. Our balance is $24.98. The program says, hey, your balance is low enough. Let's do another funds transfer. See how the program's constantly looking ahead and seeing how much potential we have, and says, hey, look, we're sticking to this schedule. Do another funds transfer. It brings our balance up to $67.30. We're going to pay $56 in interest that month. That funds transfer just canceled or saved us another $16,450 in interest and reduced our mortgage by another 17 months. I mean, it just starts to get a little bit exciting. In the last 3 months, we've been on this 3 months. We paid $129 in interest. We've canceled $45,666 and reduced our mortgage by 46 months. Now let's jump into the amortization schedule and take a look at that. We were at 328 months. Now we dropped down to 310. Our principal payment was going up by $1 per month And in month 5, our principal payment jumps to $22.33. So here we come again. Now our monthly payment, more is principal, less is interest. We're starting to get ahead and win this game. Our balance is 188, and we've got 310 months left to go. That funds transfer just canceled $16,000 and reduced our mortgage by 17 months. And now we've canceled in total $45,666 in interest and reduced our mortgage by 46 months. We're only 3 months into this, or 5 months into this, I'm sorry. Our line of credit balance is $67.86. Our expenses are $4,000. We pull those out, makes our first mortgage payment. Everything's going like normal. Our balance is now $10,786. We deposit our income. Our ending balance is now $5,786. We're going to pay a little bit of interest, $48.22. Brings our balance up to $58.34. Month 6, we're going to roll that balance down, pull out our expenses, makes our mortgage payment, pays our gas, groceries, utility, deposit our income. Our ending balance is $48.34. After we pay a little bit in interest, our interest on our line of credit keeps dropping every month along with our balance. We're going to roll that balance into month 7. Our expenses, pay our expenses, deposit our income. Our ending balance is $38.74. The program says, hey, look, the balance is getting low enough that what? We're going to get ready to do what? Another funds transfer. It says to transfer $3,911 to our first mortgage. Ending balance is $77.85. After interest, it goes up to $78.50. That funds transfer just canceled us another $13,000 in interest, reduced our mortgage by another 15 months. Now, I know we're making this look good on paper. And if our expenses would have gone up a little bit that month, the program might have said, hey, let's shrink this funds transfer. If they would have gone up a lot, well, it would have maybe moved this transfer out a few months. So the program's always looking at what we're telling it has actually happened before it gives us exactly what to do. Well, if our income would have gotten bigger or our paycheck would have been a little bit more, well, this funds transfer could increase. If our income would have been a little less, it could shrink. If it was a lot less, it might move out a few months and our dashboard would change and reflect. But we're going through with this and we're rolling into this 7 months and nothing's really changed. So here we have saved $13,000, another $13,000 on that $3,900 funds transfer, and we're going to pay $64.88 to save that $13,000 because we're using the bank's money, really swapping out interest and depositing and flowing our income in a different manner than a 0% checking account. So in the last 7 months, let's look at this. We've paid $320 in interest. We've canceled almost $60,000, $59,000 in interest, reduced our mortgage by over 61 months. Now, I had a customer a long time ago, a little bit ago, who said, John, so back in the old days, my mortgage used to come with a coupon book. Are you telling me that I could take 61 of those payments out of the back end of the coupon book and throw them away? Absolutely. They can never come back. Now, we do have to address our balance here on the line of credit, but your first mortgage is forever offset. It cannot come back. It cannot change. Your amortization schedule has changed, and it cannot go back. It's a closed-end loan. They can't give you your money back. It's going forward the way it is. So here we are in month 5. We had 309 months. Our principal payment was $256. In month 6, our payment went up by a little bit more than $1. It's $257. But here we are in month 7, after our principal funds transfer that we just made, and our principal jumps another $19.56. We've canceled $13,486 in interest. We've reduced our mortgage by 15 months. In the last 8 months, we have increased our principal payment by $81. And if you remember, in month 10, or in 12 months from now, on the regular amortization schedule, it was going to be $210 in principal. We're at $280. So we've increased it by $81. We've canceled $59,000 in interest and reduced our mortgage by 61 months. We're down to 292 months remaining. We've got $183,796 that we owe left. Here we are 7 months into the program. We owe $183. 7 months into a regular program, just making our standard mortgage payment, we'd owe $198,585. In fact, it would take us 5.7 years, 68 months to get to a similar balance, and we'd still be negative $125. On a regular program, we're going to pay back over 30 years, $231,000 in interest. With the Worth account, we're going to pay it off in 9.9 years and only pay back $67,000 in interest. That's a savings of $164,600. You can either choose to pay it off over 30 years, just the way the bank has sent you that amortization schedule, or you can look at what the Worth account can do for you and save, roughly a third to half the time and interest that you were scheduled to pay. Here's the dashboard and what it looks like. What it looks like when we first got on. 9.9 years, $67,000 in interest remaining, potential of $164,615, and nothing actually saved yet. Here's our first mortgage funds transfer that we need to do. And here we are 7 months later with 9.3 years left, $60,000 in interest remaining, potential savings of $164,000, $59,000 in actual saved, and we've got another funds transfer coming up. But we're going to hold off on this funds transfer because John and Rebecca want to explore building wealth. And so that's what we're going to kind of get into after we go over strategic debt payoff. Now, most of you might be out there like John and Rebecca Jones, a typical client who have more than just a mortgage. If they did, in this scenario, we're just going over where they just had the first mortgage and the home equity line of credit. But if you didn't, if you had more than that, the program's going to take that into account as well. If your situation looks a little bit like this, the program's going to go through and look at the amount owed. It's going to look at the length of each debt, the interest rate, the calculation of payment, adjusting rates, and it's going to be able to use these different lines of credit and so a home equity line, a personal line, a commercial line, secured line. And if you can't get any of those, we'll start you out with the checking and savings and build you up to a home equity line of credit. So here's the cash flow and then what we just went through and how everything was flowing and working. Our income comes into our checking account. Anything above this minimum reserve that we set flows over to our line of credit, always bringing that balance down. Our income comes in, anything above that minimum reserve flows over to our line of credit. Once we get to that optimal point of the lowest balance, it tells us to do a funds transfer. But instead of just going directly to the mortgage, if we have other debts, it's going to tell us to make a payment to, in this case, the motorcycle. And 1 or 2 more payments to that motorcycle, guess what happens? It's paid off. And guess what happens to our funds transfers? They start to happen more frequently. They start to becoming a little bit bigger, and it just starts to get exciting. We're like winning this video game of finances. So here's how it works in a startup mode. In our checking and savings method, we set up a minimum reserve in both our checking and savings. Our income comes into our checking account. Anything above what we're not going to have to pay out in expenses flows over to our savings. Instead of paying down the balance, we're simply building up a balance. So as our income comes in, anything that's above that minimum reserve that transfers on over to our savings account. And once we hit that optimal point, bam, shoots us out and tells us where to send the funds, exactly how much to send, and which account to send it to. Well, in this case, it's going to send it to our car loan. 1 or 2 more payments to that auto loan, and guess what happens? It's paid off, right? Our funds transfers start to increase, and our funds transfers start to get a little bit bigger. It starts to get a little bit exciting. But there's another step of this, wealth accumulation. That's what I kind of want to go over with you the rest of the evening. And we're going to kind of go through this and this scenario of really how even we started out and how we came across and building this product. So there's 2 ways that you can build real wealth in the Worth account, and that is with rental properties and fix and flip. Tonight we're going to cover rental properties. And so John and Rebecca Jones, we're going to continue on to this same storyline. They've been in this now for 7 months, and they give support a call because they're looking at a rental property. And so support pulls up their account and says, yeah, it looks like you've got about 9.3 years left to pay on it. You got $60,000 in interest remaining. What are we looking to do? Well, we want to buy a rental property. Can you help us out? Sure, let's talk to a mortgage company. So they get on the phone with a mortgage company and they quote them a payment, interest rate, down payment of $24,750 and roughly 15% of the value of the home for $165,000 purchase price. New payment $931.61, interest rate of 4.75. And so support says, well, now let's get with a realtor and find us a house. So realtor finds them a house. We plug it into the dashboard. It shows 11.8 years, $126,526 in interest remaining. Now, for those of you who are saying, hey, I don't know if I want to cancel all that interest because of a tax write-off, well, let me tell you, that's a little bit silly. You're kind of tripping over dollars to pick up dimes. But if that's kind of a focus and you're interested in that, here's a lot more interest, but we're going to show you how that interest starts to work for you. So let's take another step into this. We're at 9.3 years right now, looking at this rental property, adding this rental property. So adding this in brings us to an 11.8 year payoff. That's going to pay off this one new rental property in 2.5 years longer. So 9.3 to 11.8. That's going to bring in $1,375 in monthly rental income, and the property is going to appreciate. It's a new asset worth $165,000. John and Rebecca are like, okay, what's Social Security going to pay me, and how does this return? So our payment's $931, principal $176.45. That goes to us. Our rental income of $1,375 minus our escrows of $200 minus our interest payment, that means it's going to return us $619. This goes back to us. Paying down that balance, which the renter is doing, is us. So that's what they start to evaluate this and make their decision on. So question is, where do we get the down payment, right? So John and Rebecca, they've been doing well. They've paid down their mortgage from $200,000 to $183 in 7 months. They go into the bank says, yeah, things are looking good. Your credit's great. We did a 100% loan for them to start out. So anyways, we get a line of credit. They say, we're going to increase your line of credit to $45,000. So we owed $78.50 roughly. Brings it up to about roughly $32,600. We're going to pull that $24,750 and deposit it against that house for $165,000, bringing us and giving us a new rental mortgage for $140,250. Now this is where it starts to get exciting, and you'll start to see how this can start to build wealth and what it'll really do for you. So our line of credit ending balance as of month 7 was $78.50 and 82 cents. We're going to pull out our expenses, our $4,000. That brings our first mortgage payment to our primary residence, and it pays our expenses. So really nothing's changed in the last 8 months. We've just been doing things a little bit different, flowing our income a little bit different. Our ending balance is $11,850. We deposit our income of $5,000. Our Ending balance is $68.50. We're going to pull that down payment. So this is the transaction where we're actually working it through, where we're actually purchasing that house. Our ending balance is $31,600. Our rental income, we start the renter of that same month of $1,375, brings our balance down to $30,225.82. We're going to pay $251 in interest, brings our balance up to $30,477.70. Now, if you notice, we don't really make that payment. We just deposit our income, so our income's flowing into the line of credit. So that interest gets tacked on to the balance at the end of the month, but we're not really making a payment per se in addition to our income. Our income acts as the payment. The bank's looking for $250. We sent them, $63.75. They're totally happy. This month's discretionary income. Now, if you notice, our expenses are still only $4,000. Why is that? Well, when you buy a new home, the payment's not due for 60 days. So this month's discretionary income is $21.23. Our average discretionary income is $14.43. Our new rental income is $13.75, bringing our total income to $63.75. We've got a new asset of $165,000, bringing our total assets to $405,000. Now we're going to start measuring net worth, and we're up to $50,800. Let's do an overview. So here's the worth account. Our total assets $405, standard plan $240, liabilities $354,000 versus $198, $63.75 for our income versus $5,000. Total expenses $94.32 versus $4,000. Average discretionary income $14.43 versus $1,000. Remaining time to pay off 11.8 years, 29.3. $405,000 paid off in 11.8 years, $240,000 paid off in 29.3. From start, that's 12. So total time to pay off plus the 8 months, we're into this 12. We're going to pay everything off in 12.47 years versus 30 years. So our net worth $50,800 versus $41,620. We're into this 8 months. That's a difference of $9,100, $9,179. We have retirement income of $1,375 at the end of 12.47 years. That really can potentially pay us as long as we have a renter in there for life. Here's a look at our dashboard. We're starting to build wealth with confidence. We see where we're going before we get there. Things are moving along. Here we've got 11.8 years. We know we're going to pay this much in interest, but we've got the potential to save $229,000. And we've already saved $59,000, so we know this is working. Here's our first mortgage at 6%. We've got $183,000 left on that. We've got our line of credit that we just went over. Here's our assets, and here's our overall assets, $50,755. So here's our new monthly budget. Our income, our rental income, total income of $63.75. Monthly living expenses, primary mortgage payment, mortgage rental number 1, $931.61. So our total expenses are $31.61, giving us average discretionary income of $14.43. So here we are in month 9. We roll that $30,477 balance and pay our expenses. Now our expenses didn't go up this month either. Why is that? Well, it's not due until the following month. Our balance is $34,000. We deposit our income, brings our ending balance to $28,000. Here we are stepping through a live scenario of what can happen. We're going to pay a little bit in interest, brings our balance to $28,336. Our net worth just grew to $53,200. We're going to roll that balance down, deposit our expenses here just went up to $4,931.61. We make that mortgage payment, deposit our income, pay a little bit of interest. Earning balance is $27,117. Our net worth is $54,900. We can kind of see what's happening. So what we're going to do is going to kind of skip ahead. We're going to jump ahead to month 20. So we're depositing our income, paying our bills just like normal, making the mortgage payment. What you can see happening is our interest payment dropping, our net worth growing, our balance dropping, net worth just continually increasing. Let's go ahead and jump up here. Here we are in month 20. Our balance is $14,351.81. Our net worth $72,000. We're into this 20 months. Let's take a look at our dashboard. 10.6-year payoff, $101,000 in interest remaining. We see where we're going. We've got $30,000 available on our line of credit. John or Rebecca say, hey, let's call support. Let's see if we can get another rental property going. They look at their dashboard. Let's talk to a mortgage company and get on the phone with a realtor. They don't really need to call support. This is just, we're just moving forward in this. Says, okay, well, if we bought another $165,000 house, be $24,750 down payment, another 15%, your payment would be $931.61 at 5%. And your payoff would go from 10.6 to 12 years. So here we are, our dashboard, 20 months. After 20 months, rental income from the realtor says, hey, this can rent out for easily for $14.25 a month versus our rental income on number one. The houses are similar. John says, hey, well, what if we went ahead and increased our rental income on the first property? Well, if we did that, it would take us from 12 years to 11.8, 170,000 to 167. John says, let's go ahead and do that. So here we are looking at this property, trying to make the decision. It's going to pay it off in 1.2 years sooner. Would be debt-free from the start in 13.5 years, and versus 10.6 to 11.8. Our return on this property is $640. We take that $14.25, subtract the escrows and the interest because the principal is back to us out of that monthly payment, and our return is $640. We were going to have another income of $14.25 per month while it's increasing. What's Social Security going to do for you? And our new asset of $165,000 and growing. So how do we come up with that? We pull it from our line of credit. Purchase that house for $160,000. Here we are in month 21. We'll roll through that transaction, pay our mortgage payments, pull out our living expense budget, brings our balance up to $19,283. We're going to deposit our income of $64.25, brings our balance to $12,000. Pull out our down payment for our second rental property, brings our balance up to $37,600. We're going to deposit our income, our second rental income. Our realtor's just a real big help. He's helping us out a ton. He hooks us up with, not only finds us the house, but also helps us to find a renter as well, getting us in it and going all in month 21. Our ending balance is $36,183. We're going to pay $301 in interest, brings us up to $36,484. Our net worth is now $75,500. This month's discretionary income, because our monthly payment's not due on the second rental, is $26.17. Our average discretionary income, $19.65. Our rental income, a new rental income of $14.25, and total rental income of $78.50. A new asset, bringing our total assets to $570,000. Here's our 21-month overview. $570,000 in assets versus $240. Liabilities $494 versus $195. Total income $78.50 versus $5,000. Our expenses $58.85. Our expenses $4,000 on our standard plan. Our discretionary income $1,965. We've almost doubled it in 21 months. That's less than 2 years. Versus our standard plan, we still have $1,000 discretionary income. Remaining payoff time, 11.8 years. We're going to pay off we're going to have $570,000 in assets in 11.8 years versus $240,000 in assets in 28.3 years. From the start, 13.5 years versus 30 years. $75,000 net worth versus $44,000. That's a difference of $31,000 in 21 months. Here we are on our rental income, $2,850. Here's a look at our dashboard, at where we are. This just helps us to build with confidence. We know exactly where we're going, exactly what we're doing, how we're going to get there. We've got 11.8 years to pay these things off. John and Rebecca are in a building mode though. So here we are. Here's our new income layout, our rental income increase. $7,850 is our total income. Our monthly expenses, we haven't changed that. Primary mortgage, first rental property, second rental property, total expenses. Gives us our average discretionary income of $1,965, as you can see there. Our total income $7,850. Subtract our new living expenses of $5,884.50. So here we are. We roll that balance into month 21. Pull out our expenses. Now our expenses haven't increased. Deposit our income. Our ending balance is 33. We're going to add our interest. Brings us to 33,846. Our net worth is growing. So here we are, $279 in interest, $33,000. Now we're going to go ahead and jump ahead of month 33. We kind of see what's going on here. If you notice, our interest keeps dropping, our balance dropping, but what's growing? Our net worth, and it's getting exciting. Here's our new expense payment, $5,884.50. Month 24. Here we go. We're jumping ahead. Just our balance keeps dropping, paying less and less in interest, where our net worth just keeps growing. I mean, it just starts to get really exciting. We see where we're going before we get there. And as we're doing this, it's just getting addicting. John and Rebecca are starting to figure this game out of how to build wealth and how to get where they want to go. So basically, here we are in month 33. So we're not even into this 3 years. Our balance is down to $14,349.28. Our net worth, $105,000. We're into this 33 months. Here's our dashboard, 10.8 years. It kind of seems like that magic number right there. 141,000 left in interest remaining, and we have 302 in potential to save. Our actual still stays the same though. So John and Rebecca have, roughly $30,000 in equity, and so they call in to support again. They want to try this again, see what happens. So here we are at 10.8 years. They don't need support anymore, but we're just calling up support because we're bored. We've got 15% that we've got to come up with after talking to the mortgage company. The new payment's $996, the interest rate's 5.5%. So rates are going up a little bit, but it's not really affecting us because we're renting it. Our payoff goes from 10.8 to 11.8. If you kind of notice a trend here of what's happening, it's taking us less and less time to pay off our rental properties. So as they're evaluating this, another property is paid off just 1 year longer. What's Social Security going to do for me? This one's going to rent for $1,450, new asset for $165,000, and we pay off 3 properties in 14.6 years from the start. Here's our return, $607, and our payoff is 11.8 years with $213,000. This also can help us potentially as interest write-off because of the interest that we're going to pay, but we're going to build wealth with it. So here we come in with our line of credit. We know how to do that. We know where to get our down payment. So let's go through this transaction. Month 34, we roll that balance into month 34, pull out our expenses. That makes our mortgage payment on our first and second rental and our primary mortgage and our expenses. Our ending balance is $20,233. Our income is $7,850. Deposit that. That brings us down to $12,383 after our expenses are paid. Here's our down payment for rental number 3. Ending balance $37,000. Deposit our rental income $1,450. Ending balance is $35,000. We're going to pay $297 in interest. Bring your balance to $35,981. This month's discretionary income, $3,416. Average discretionary income, $2,419. Rental income, $1,450. New total income, $9,300. New asset for $165,000. Net worth of $109,000. Let's do our 34-month overview. We're about to wrap this up. We've been in this 34 months. We've got $735,000 in assets that appreciate. And on our standard plan, we've got $240,000, $625,000 in liabilities versus $192. Total income $9,300 versus $5,000. Total expenses $6,881 versus $4,000. Our income's $2,419 versus $1,000. That's 2.5 times what our discretionary income was. We're into this 34 months, less than 3 years. We've got 3 rental properties. We're buying these with confidence. We know what's going on. We're going to pay off $735,000 in assets in 11.8 years, really 14.63 years from the start. And on our standard plan, we owe $192,000 with 27.2 years left to go. 14.6 for 735 or 240 versus 30 years left to go. Our net worth $109,300 versus $47,359. That's a difference of $61,000, 34 months into it. Our monthly retirement income, $4,300. Here's our dashboard now with all of our new rental property. And now if you notice, our rental properties are increased. Our first one we paid off in 2.5 years. Our second rental property paid off in 1.2 years. Our third one pays off in 1 year. Eventually, if they keep going the way they're going, they're paying off a rental property every 6 months. Now, here's an analysis that you can give to a potential client and showing them mainly how much income they're missing, how much wealth they're missing out on. Here we are in 27.5 years. They've got another $1.1 million that they can build up after they've already paid off $735,000. So here's a prediction. If John or Rebecca Jones keep going the way they're going on the program, $735,000 they have in assets right now. $240,000 on a standard plan. Liabilities, 0 in 14.63 years versus they owe $144,000. Remember when we were talking about that amortization schedule and how it just kind of beats you down? Doesn't that look a little bit depressing? $144,000 versus 0, $735,000 in assets versus $240,000. Our total income $9,300, $5,000. Expenses $2,800.90. Now maybe they start to increase that or whatever, but they have it to increase. Their expenses on the other side, $4,000 still. Our average discretionary income, $6,499.10. Discretionary income, $1,000. Time to pay off, remaining time to pay off, paid in full in 14.63 years. Standard plan, still 15.3 years left to go. We remember that amortization schedule. We're going to pay off 1.5 times in 21 years. So they've got 15.3 years left to go. Net worth, $735,000 versus $95,000. Here's a shocker, $639,000 difference. Every day that goes by that you're not sharing the worth account, you're your customers, our friends, our clients, our neighbors, they're losing the game. They're losing their net worth. They're losing because they just keep spending. They're going to have, a bunch of junk that they're going to give to the DI versus, or, to the thrift store versus having wealth to build and then really being able to help people, starting to fill their dreams. We're at 14.3 years and $735,000 in assets, but as we just saw, we've got another 1.1 million that we can build, and that's not even if we were using real estate. That was just if we're just putting it into a 1% savings account, which we highly discourage. And they're starting to set themselves up for retirement, $4,300 in income that they're just sitting back and earning. So what is the next step? Schedule your analysis. It's free. It's easy. It's worth it. See how much. Aren't you curious to see how much you're missing out on and what the Worth account can do for you? Get with the person that referred you to this. Schedule your free analysis. Gather your most recent credit and debt information, or simply fill out an analysis questionnaire. So that's pretty much the end of our presentation. I want to thank you for joining us on the call tonight. Please leave us any feedback and comments that you have. Thank you, and God bless. Have a wonderful